Somalia's defiant vision at the UN, unity, security, and regional cooperation. In the bustling house of the UN General Assembly, Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed took center stage, delivering a resolute message of unity and progress. Just days later, on September 29, 2025, he doubled down in a candid BBC interview tackling Somalia's existential challenges head on. From the persistent threats of Al Shabaab to the delicate issue of Somaliland's secessionist ambitions, Mohammed's words were a bold assertion of sovereignty and a call for reconciliation. Is Somalia on the cusp of a unified future, or will internal divisions and regional tensions derail its fragile recovery? Hi, I am Miron Damto, and this is Analytica Today. On September 29, 2025, Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed sat down with BBC World Service's Paul Nije for a 23-minute interview titled Somalia Has a Serious Security Challenge. Fresh off of his UN address, Mohammed used the platform to reject separatism, reaffirm Somalia's fight against terrorism, and signal openness to regional cooperation, particularly with Ethiopia. This was more than a conversation. It was a window into Somalia's struggle to forge stability amid internal strife and external pressures. This analysis dives into the key issues raised: counterterrorism efforts, the Somaliland question, Ethiopia's relations governance and reforms, and the broader stakes of Somalia's future. Confronting Al Shabaab's persistent threats, President Mohammed opened with a stark acknowledgement: Somalia has a serious security challenge. Al Shabaab, the Al Qaeda affiliated insurgency, remains a formidable foe despite territorial gains by Somali forces. In the BBC interview, Mohammed highlighted recent military successes, noting that much progress has been made in tackling terror. Yet he was candid about the group's resilience, admitting, "I'm a prime target of the Islamist group Al Shabaab," referring attacks like the March 2025 assassination attempt. Mohammed framed Al Shabaab not just as a military threat, but as a parasite exploiting clan divisions and poverty. His strategy blends boots on the ground offensive with efforts to address root causes: economic despair and social fragmentation. By emphasizing Somali-led solutions with international support, he positioned his government as resolute yet pragmatic, seeking to rally both domestic and global backing. Somaliland and the sacrosanct unity of Somalia. The question of Somaliland's push for independence loomed large. The self-declared republic in Somalia's northwest has operated autonomously since 1991, but Mohammed was unequivocal. The country's unity is sacrosanct. He rejected any notion of secession, framing it as a non-negotiable red line, even as he called for dialogue to resolve tensions. This stance, echoed in his September 29 parliamentary address, underscores a delicate balancing act. Somaliland's bid for recognition, coupled with regional flashpoints like the Las Anod conflict, threatens to fracture Somali's fragile federal framework. Mohammed's insistence on unity is both a defense of sovereignty and a plea for cohesion, warning that division could embolden insurgents and destabilize the Horn of Africa. Mending ties with Ethiopia, Mohammed addressed Somalia's complex relationships with Ethiopia, a neighbor with whom tensions have flared over border disputes and Ethiopia's ties to Somaliland. Downplaying conflict, he expressed optimism about cooperation, stating, "We give our support to working together in both countries' interests." This comes amid joint economic initiatives and efforts to diffuse water-sharing disputes tied to Ethiopia's Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD. By framing Ethiopia as a partner rather than a rival, Mohammed signaled a diplomatic pivot seeking to align Somalia with regional integration rather than proxy rivalries. This approach contrasts with Egypt's confrontational stance on the GERD, positioning Somalia as a potential mediator in Nile Basin dynamics while securing its own strategic interests. Governance reforms as a path to instability. Domestically, Mohammed outlined ambitious reforms, including a shift to one-person, one-vote elections by 2026, moving away from Somali's clan-based indirect voting system. He tied this to border rules, constitutional amendments, economic recovery, post-debt relief, and climate resilience to counter drought-driven instability. We have chosen to resolve our differences through dialogue and mutual understanding, he said, invoking a Somalia's proverb to underscore reconciliation. These reforms are a gamble. Clan rivalries and opposition skepticism could derail progresses, as seen in critical ex-posts accusing Mohammed of centralizing power, yet his vision casts him as a leader prioritizing legacy over personal gain, urging stakeholders to unite for a stable, inclusive Somalia. Somalia's global and regional role, Mohammed's BBC interview, paired with this UN speech, framed Somalia as a nation reclaiming its agency. He rejected external meddling, declaring, "The era when the world used to decide for us has passed." This resonates in a region fraught with proxy conflicts, from Egypt-Ethiopia tensions to Gulf state rivalries. By aligning with African Union principles and multilateralism, Mohammed seeks to position Somalia as a partner, not a pawn. The stakes are high. Somalia's stability affects counterterrorism efforts, migration flows, and Red Sea security. Mohammed's call for global support without paternalism is both a plea and a challenge, testing whether the international community will back Somalia's self-driven path. President Mohammed's BBC interview was more than a reflection on Somalia's challenges. It was a bold assertion of sovereignty, unity, and resilience. From battling al-Shabaab to rejecting Somaliland's secession, his words painted a vision of Somalia that stands firm yet seeks cooperation. The coming years will test whether this vision can overcome internal divisions and regional complexities, or if fragility will prevail. For Mogadishu, the path forward is clear: a united Somalia, secure and self-resilient, ready to shape its destiny. I am Meron Damto, and this is Analytica Today.